Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us today. My name is Alina. Oh, sorry. Yeah. My name is Alina. I'm a marketing manager at USCAN, and today I will be joined by Irina Chikamasova. She is a VP of Sales at USCAN. So basically, I'm going to be just a host of today's webinar, and then Irina is going to guide you through her presentation on what is UGC, why you should use it in your marketing strategy in 2021, and how to basically use UGC in your marketing campaigns. At the end of the presentation, we're going to have a quick Q&A session for 5 to 10 minutes. And we're also going to have a small gift at the end of our presentation, so stay tuned. And I would like to say a couple of words about the USCAN. So USCAN is an AI-powered social media intelligence platform. We are presented in 6 countries all over the world, including USA, UK, and Mexico. And we're really proud to say that our platform is used by more than 500 brands and agencies, including Google, Coca-Cola, McDonald's, and Samsung. Our platform was recognized as a visual analysis category winner in the report done by SaaS Advisor, and we've been also recognized by Gartner, DuduCrowd, CrossDesk, and Martech Breakthrough Awards. USCAN is able to monitor more than 500,000 media sources, including social media networks such as Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube. We're also analyzing more than 500 million brand mentions daily, and we have one of the most accurate text and image classification, which is 95%. And now I'm passing over to Irina.
Hi, everyone. Do you hear me well, Alina?
Yeah.
Cool. So let's start. It's a pleasure for me to be speaker today. And during my presentation, I will talk about user-generated content and its role and importance in marketing activities today. So let me switch slide. Okay. So let me start with some user-generated content marketing trends. And according to recent researchers, UGC is quickly becoming the most popular marketing tool, which is going ahead of online influencer campaigns. And I think that everybody mentioned that social media users, they are really tired of celebrities posting about gadgets or goods they've been paid to promote. And we see a lot of like promo activities, promo posts on Instagram with ad hashtag, and realize that favorite celebrities, they do not ritually promote only the products they use and believe in. So what our recent research shows. First of all, the authenticity sells. It means that 86% of people think that authenticity is super important when deciding which brands to support. And also 57% of consumers, they think that less than half of brands create content that resonates as authentic. And this is super cool result of the research, because it's great for us, for marketers, a big field for promo activities based on this user-generated content. By the way, only 23% of consumers, they say that content from celebrities can influence their purchasing decision. And this is again one more advantage of user-generated content in front of it. And 44% of survey respondents, they claimed that they began to use social media more during the lockdown. And we really think that this COVID situation, this lockdown period, give marketers a lot of opportunities to use social media, UGC, for their marketing activities. So Alina, please help to switch the slide because I think that I cannot control you. Thank you. Okay, so the reasonable question is how to find basically the this UGC content and how to drive it. And actually, we have already a lot of generated content on social media. So again, according to this research, we see that 85% of people, they really like to share their positive travel experience, some other experiences on social media, and 63% will post about positive food or beverage experience on social media. So we have already a lot of this content on social media. And by the way, 52% of people, they say that they post on social media at least once a month. So each of your brands basically has a lot of active users who post each month at least one post. And this is a huge amount of users. Okay, so let's go to the next slide, please. Thank you. So the next important thing is that basically where we can find, where and how we can find the UGC content on social media. And here, our social media intelligence platforms and tools, they can come and help us for our marketing activities. So basically, we can use social media listening tools for listening, collecting, and analyzing this user-generated content. And as all of you know, I think that we can use the standard keyword monitoring. And this is the #1 step to track all the text activities and text posts of all the users. But all the modern technologies, they also allow us to track the visual content of our users. For example, a lot of tools, they have image recognition capabilities or visual insights, as we call it at UScan, for example. And this technology basically allows us to collect all the visual mentions of the brand. And we've mentioned that around 80–85% of all the content, user-generated content, it comes from pictures. And that's why we can use this technology, which will track the logo of the brand on pictures and help to collect these user-generated pictures from the social media. And of course, not all these pictures and not all these text mentions, they are related to user-generated content, because it can be some promo activities, some advertising, some mass media activities, and so on. So to sort it out and to find real user opinions, we can also use the artificial intelligence for this. And at UScan, we call it warm brand mentions, but again, other monitoring tools, they can name it in their way. But anyway, you can just use some simple smart filters and sort out all the warm brand mentions on social networks and see exactly the user-generated pictures and texts from the posts. The next one. Okay, so the next question is what insights basically can be found with the help of user-generated content. And here I want you to present the Toblerone case study, which we've made recently. And I want to start with the brand health. Of course, it's super important to understand the sentiment of the brand and all the mentions which we have, because as we understand, not all the posts of all the users will be positive. And this is a normal practice for all the brands. For example, for Toblerone, they have a lot of positive mentions, and they have 4 times more positive mentions than negative ones. But anyway, we would advise always to start to work with the UGC, starting with sentiment detection. And with the help of social listening, you can not only just understand the big picture, but you can read this post and understand exactly how people are talking about the brand. Next. Also, all the modern technologies, they allow us not only just understand the big picture, the sentiments, they also help us to see what exactly caused the positive review. And for example, here we see that users and creators of content for the Toblerone, they really like the taste of their products. And by the way, the big insight for the brand was that people, they like not only their chocolate, the famous one, but also they liked some baked goods like such as cookies, brownies, cheesecakes, and so on. And this is a great insight using some aspects of the monitoring. The next big thing about user-generated content is a brand image. This content also give us not only like sentiment and some reviews, but also give us like a big picture of how the brand looks like. And here I have some examples of the user-generated photos with Toblerone. And you can see that marketers of this brand, they found out that people like to make photos with their chocolates in front of mountains and with the flower buckets. And this is a really cool insight because yeah, mountains, it's something maybe obvious for the users, but flowers, it was not super obvious for them. And this is a great insight which came from photos of users. The next thing is that with the help again of visual insights, you can not only just find pictures and logos on them, but also you can see some scenes, some objects, like type of activities that people use on these photos. And for example, for Toblerone, they are active users, they post content, with some like winter pictures, mountain pictures. They also have a lot of models and skiers on these photos, and they really like nature. The next one, please. Yeah. Okay, one more important thing with the UGC is that, of course, we are surrounded by brands. And our consumers, they post pictures not only with our brands, but also with other brands. And this is, again, an insightful information. So, for example, for Toblerone, we can see that they found out that their brand is surrounded by other chocolate brands like Kit Kat, Snickers, and so on. But also some other brands like Coca-Cola, Jack Daniels, Jameson. So it was quite surprising. But anyway, active users like to post such pictures. And this is, again, an insight for the marketers. The next thing is that with the UGC, we can get a lot of audience insights. For example, we can start with just a normal standard analytics of gender distribution, for example. And you can see that, for example, for Toblerone, again, the most active users who create a lot of content, they are men. So 63% of content is generated by men. And this was an insight for a brand. And this content is generated mostly from the US market, the UK, and Portugal. So this is the opportunity basically to understand where your active users are based and where to target maybe some activities with them. But I will tell you later a bit more about some activities which you can organize with your active users. Regarding brand audience, you can also filter out the most active microbloggers which you have and find out basically the number of followers that they have, the number of subscribers. And the interesting thing that, for example, on the example of Toblerone, we see that with the help of social listening, you can find different micro-influencers, the most active content creators on different social networks. For example, Toblerone, they have some creators from TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. So basically they have a lot of opportunities to find different type of content which will be specifically created for this certain social network. And this is super available again. And of course, as I said above, not all the posts and content can be positive, and this is quite okay for each brand. And we have promoters of the brands and detractors. And regarding promoters, as I promised, I will show a few slides later and show some maybe cases how to work with them. But regarding detractors, it's also super important to find people who generate this content with probably negative reviews, and also come to them and cooperate with them and try to solve their problem, because they distribute this content among their followers, and this also creates some kind of like brand perception in front of these users. Yes, and for all the marketers, it's super important to go for some benchmark, and UGC content is super valuable for this. For example, you can evaluate the share of conversation for your brand, and here we have the example of Toblerone in comparison with Ferrera, Lindt brand. And by the way, you can see that all these brands, from the point of view of user-generated content, they have quite different sources where this content can be distributed. So, for example, for Ferrero, it definitely Instagram, they are super popular there. But, for example, for Toblerone, it's Twitter. And on the second place, we have YouTube. So it's interesting insight. And for Lindt, it's quite popular to find the UGC on Facebook. So all this information gives a lot of insights to work with this user-generated content. Yeah, and this this is my favorite one, because with the help of visual insights, you can see the consumption situations of your brand. And here we have an example for Toblerone. We can see that for Kit Kat and Toblerone and other chocolate brands, it's quite popular to be placed on a gift basket with other brands. But you can see that they can be found not with the same brands. So, for example, Toblerone, it can be surrounded by Jack Daniels or Coca-Cola brand, and for example, Kit Kat is used together with some champagne brands. And this is super interesting, again, for marketers of Toblerone. Yeah, the next thing which I want to tell you about is cultural differences and the recent research we've made at UScan. So basically, you can monitor not only like brand mentions and the content related to exactly your brand name, but also you can use a wider or broad topics for monitoring. For example, at UScan, we decided to do an experiment, and we wanted to find out the information and some user behavior regarding coffee brands and coffee consumption in a few countries. And we found out a super interesting thing. So the first one comes from the US market. US people, they like to such kind of trend like go to coffee. So basically they take coffee and run and do their business. And we would advise for a brand, for a coffee producer who comes to the market, just use maybe some plastic packaging for their brands, and to be more suitable to the trends of the market. But if you look at Russian market, for example, you will see that they definitely have a coffee at home trend. So they like to use nice glass cups and some ceramic mugs. It's some kind of like home ritual for users to drink coffee at home. And we would advise for a hypothetical brand who comes to a coffee market of Russia, maybe create some co-branding with the producers of mugs, or create some gift packages where they can place their coffee plus some nice mug or glass cup, and this will feed the market. The interesting thing comes from South Asia market. The next slide, yeah. So we've analyzed some mentions, some user-generated content from India and Pakistan, and we found out that drinking coffee is some kind of art for these users. So they do not just drink coffee, they also like to make nice photos of it, and they also like to use some spices in addition to the standard coffee. And this is also a great insight for marketers, for a coffee producer who can come to this market. Yeah. And also the important part of my presentation, as I promised, I want to share some experience of our clients and some use cases, how to work with UGC creators from different markets. Yes. So first of all, as we discussed above, we want to listen to the UGC creators. And here I have the interesting example. We found out that recently some of famous bloggers, they've just, sorry, not famous, but micro-influencers, they just started to post a lot of photos, pictures with the Dyson, and they use Dyson product just to motivate the subscribers to post more, to be more active, and this is some kind of like giveaway gift for them. And this is a great insight for Dyson, especially, and for any brand. So if you see such activities, basically you can collaborate with these micro-influencers and create some campaigns with them. And this will look organically, and this will be a real UGC content marketing activity. The next, yeah. The next important thing is to create communities. We all know that people love communities, and these last trends with Clubhouse, they show us that people like communities a lot. And here I have the example from Vanish brand. So basically they've created some kind of like forum for their active users, content creators, and they allow their active users to share some short videos with some tips of how to use Vanish for different situations. And this is super cool. You can see a lot of like short videos, 3 to 2 minutes videos, where people share the content and give some tips, give some advice. And this really creates a lot of content. And Vanish brand, of course, uses all this content for their marketing activities. And people like to share their opinions, their reviews, and this always works. Yeah, and the third important thing, of course, to advertise. We want to use user-generated content for advertising. And here we have the example of Airy brand, I guess, yeah. So they have a very interesting campaign. So they motivated their active users, women, to post some swim photos, the natural one without any like Photoshop things on these pictures. And they decided to donate $1 from each photo for a charity fund. And this was a great campaign. So basically they've received a lot of UGC advertising here. And yeah, that's look great. I think that's what users like. Okay, yeah. So I think that's all. So the main conclusion from my side is just, if you know that your brand can deliver on its promises and you have a positive perception on social networks. So basically you won't need to persuade and collaborate with some star bloggers. You will have a lot of UGC content and you can use it for your marketing and advertising, and it will work perfectly. That's all from my end. Alina, please.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Irina, for such an insightful presentation. It was very interesting. The example was right. And right now I want a chocolate. So what do you put?
Yeah.
All right. So right now we're going to have a Q&A session. So please drop your questions in the in the chat. But while you're dropping your questions, I would like to ask my personal questions. So
Okay.
how to basically work with UGC and content creators. So how can basically a brand ask to use the content for their promotion activities?
Yeah, that's a great question. So what usually our clients do, they always, first of all, request a permission. So if you're a popular brand and you will just start to repost the contact, it will be a bit weird. So first of all, ask your bloggers, your lovers, your brand lovers, yeah, for the permission to post their content, to repost it. The next important thing, I think, is to give some credit to the original creator. It means that when you make a post with some user-generated content, you can tag, for example, this user and show that you appreciate their positive review, their attitude to your brand, and this person will be definitely happy. And I think it's also important to reward somehow this person. It shouldn't be something super expensive, but maybe you can give some extra bonus or discount to your services, or some gifts, some branded products from your end, and this will be great. And this person will appreciate your attention, and they will definitely post more and more about your brand. And people like when brands make this kind of reposts and they start to tag brand even more. So it's like ongoing process, and this will help a lot.
Thank you. So now let's take a look at the questions from the audience. Guys, I'm sorry, I see that we have 3 questions in the Q&A session, but for some reason I just cannot open it. So if you can just drop them to the chat, it would be appreciated.
Yeah.
But let's start from the questions from the chat. So the first question is about the Vanish forum example. So Rina, do you know whether they pay them to contribute to that forum and to use their content?
Actually, I don't have such an information, but as I know, it was like something user generated. So they just motivated. Please, people like to share the experience, and they just asked their active users to post some video, and then more users started to see the value from these videos and decided to post even more. So I think it's something organic.
Okay, thank you. Our next question is, what is the best platform to use for FMCG according to you? Example, beer, Instagram, Twitter, etc.
I think that there is no like one right answer for you, because as we can see, for example, from Toblerone example, on different countries, you can have like different popular sources where your users can post a lot. So I would definitely advise to start with social listening, to find your active audience, to find the source when they post a lot of content, and start some activities with these sources.
Okay, thank you. So the next question is, I see that social media listening can help with measuring online activities, but what about offline? Is it possible to track the effectiveness of outdoor campaigns, for instance, or some sponsored events?
Yeah, that's a great question, by the way. I told you a lot about this visual insights technology, the image recognition technology. And if you place your banners and your basically some promo materials with your logos on these offline events, and if people make some photos during these events, so basically you can use again this image recognition technology and track and collect all these photos from the event to your dashboards, and then it like creates a lot of opportunities. So first of all, you can track the number of these posts. Then you can see the impressions, likes, probably dislikes if you have them. But anyway, it's a feedback, and it's always great to have it. Yeah, so you can take all the advantages of social listening from this technology. So I think that's the best way to track the offline activities.
Yeah, thank you. Next question. If you experience a percentage of negative sentiment among some UGC creators, should you reach out to them or rather listen and observe where the comments are going? I have in mind in case where it's not a complaint, but rather someone who simply does not like your brand.
That's a good question. I would advise to jump into the conversation as soon as possible, because it will show that you are active, that you basically take care of the situation, and you're in control of it, and you will show other users who will come and comment on the situation, that you are here, you're in touch with them, and you can help. So I would advise to come as soon as possible and help to resolve the case.
Okay, thank you. And basically, we also have two questions. So, what are the best practices to motivate users to make awesome content for the brand? And the next one is how to engage with them from scratch to make the first UGC activity.
Yeah, I think that I've showed a few great cases of big brands, how to motivate users. So basically, what we found out that we already have a lot of great content. And if you just start to engage these users, if you probably will give them some gifts, or you start to tag them on your post activities. So this creates the motivation, because people will understand that they post something and this is appreciated by the brand. So that's great. I can post more, and this is cool, I think. And how to engage with these users? So just come to them and ask for the permission if you can use this content, and that you appreciate that you have such an active follower, and they will be happy to help you. And this Vanish example is also a great one. So if you create some kind of community between your users, I think it helps them also to be like self-motivated to post a lot, because they can share best practices, they can share some user examples of how they use your product, and they can get some value from other users. And I think that's the way.
Thank you. So that was the last question. I hope that everyone who dropped their question in the Q&A section just drop them to the chat, because unfortunately still I cannot see them. But if you guys have any other questions left, please don't be afraid to drop us a message at info@uscan.io, or just simply go to our website to see other capabilities of UScan and social media intelligence in general. And also, that is the gift. So we have a free ebook about visual insights cases. So we talked a lot today about the importance of visual content and what insights you can get from it. So just grab your phone, open your camera, and scan a QR code, and you're gonna get and you're gonna get a free ebook about the visual content cases that you can get and that you need to implement in your marketing strategy this year. I would like to state that the recording is going to be available tomorrow. It's my responsibility to send you this recording, so yeah, yeah, you're gonna get it. Thanks again for joining us. It was a big pleasure for us to to do this webinar for you guys. Have a
Thank
great
you for your
rest of the day.
questions.
Yeah, and a lot of questions. That was really good. Yeah, thank you so much, guys. So yeah, have a great the rest of your day. Take care, stay safe, and bye-bye.
Bye-bye.